If we're talking about how do you move on from this, how do you learn from it, how do you actually change, then someone's got to pay, someone's got to get in trouble. So let me just read a few comments for you. Openfield 38 says, "This is America. No one can be above the law. Many people say that's just the way it is. Not me. It cannot be tolerated. We must have justice for this and the war crimes of Iraq." Also can throw that one in there. Brian Penny, HP blogger, says economies don't cycle with presidencies. Obama's taking the credit for something that he didn't do. Not only did he not fix the economy, he's yet to prosecute anyone responsible. And Boring File Clerk says, despite the reforms the Obama administration brought with them, not one was prosecuted. This was the real crime. Which, it's true, Mark. I mean, what is going on? Even if you look back to the savings and loans crisis, at least at that point, you did see a lot of banking executives take the fall. They got the axe. And so what went on here? The Justice Department just said, well, it's too difficult to file criminal prosecutions.
That's exactly what they said. They said that it's too hard to tell if real crimes were actually committed, although, there are lots of civil suits alleging fraud, and then there was this one poor guy who, I say poor guy, I mean, he was found guilty of committing fraud at Goldman Sachs, but so far he is the only one person, this mid-level Goldman Sachs trader who dealt in these kind of funky mortgage-backed securities that really weren't as good as Goldman Sachs was saying they were, and this is the guy that bears the full brunt of that.
Yeah, sadly, you almost feel bad for him, right? Because all the guys that are on top are still sitting pretty on top.
I can't help but feel bad for him. And so if this guy was doing that, and this wasn't happening just at Goldman Sachs, it was happening in a huge way at Deutsche Bank and all over Wall Street. And so why is just this one guy getting in actual trouble for it? It makes you wonder, whether the Justice Department was really aggressive enough in pursuing more of these cases. But they were afraid. They didn't want to try it out and have it fail and then be embarrassed by that. As they did try a couple of prosecutions very early on that didn't work out very well. But they were, again, low-level hedge fund guys at Bear Stearns, and it seems like they sort of lost their nerve. And it does, at the very least, that combined with the lobbying effort by Wall Street, it certainly looks and smells a lot like this plutocracy. The banks get their way. They get their way with Dodd-Frank. Dodd-Frank is there, but it has been watered down to death and lobbied half to death, and still not even halfway implemented. And a lot of that has to do with banks having a lot of money, record profits that they can spend and throw at this problem and throw at politicians to try to get their way. And so far, they're getting their way.